Why, hello, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another midnight run. It is, look at this. It is December the 19th, 2021, a week away from Christmas. And this may be my last midnight run live stream on the channel. And I felt that I needed to check on the troops, make sure you folks out there are still alive and that the storm has not perished your dwellings, that you're alive, that you're not financially buried, that you have not been kicked out by your spouse, partner, husband, wife, whatever. Um, I'm here. I'm here. We're going to hold hands and we're going to try to discuss this. Let's do a quick little check in here. Let's give some folks time to join in. Who do we got? Who knows the rules except for Melbourne? PT Works. Hello, sir, from Melbourne, Australia. Very nice, very nice. The last midnight run of 2021. Let's be clear, midnight run is not going away, but this most likely will be the last midnight run for the year 2021. Thank you. Here we go. What do we got here? 8 a.m. 8 a.m. United Kingdom. Thank you for waking up and eating your cornflakes with me. Greatly appreciate it. South Carolina, East Coast, so 3 a.m. Thank you for joining. Funky Cold Santa. Mass. I'm here, Massachusetts, Express at 3 a.m. I bet you it's wicked cold out there, isn't it? Giving the like to this great channel, I give love and thanks, a single songwriter. Hello, Texas Central, very nice, very nice. Who else? New York. Love that city, the city that never sleeps. New York, New York. 4 p.m. Singapore. God, I can't wait to go there. Hopefully when Singapore allows us Americans back in. Singapore is on my to-do list. I will be going to Singapore. Who else is checking in? Hello, JB Collection. Hello. Thank you for joining. Very nice. JB Collection. Oh, you're gonna kill me. You are California time, right? You're Pacific time. Please tell me I got that right. That's right. We're going to be talking about Spider-Man in this video. In this midnight run, we are going to be talking about Spider-Man No Way Home, spoiler edition. If you haven't seen the movie, if you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, for shame. But if you have not seen it and you still want to listen to me ramble and, bitch and talk and so forth, I would probably recommend saving the video until you watch the movie, because a lot what I'm going to talk about is going to probably make sense. Who else is checking in? The storm flew right by me. Oh, I'm still in the storm, Andre. I am feeling the wrath. My situation with the storm is that I've raised the shield for Star Wars pre-orders, but the problem is that I have incoming missiles that are getting past my shield, and it's typically outside pre-orders, like Gandalf, Flash, things outside of Star Wars is starting to come in, and it's really impacting me. The X06 Janeway, which I got a week ago, and I still have not opened it because it's just been busy. It's been a busy Christmas season for me. But we'll talk about that. Historic, there you go. Historic Hastings. I hope I'm saying that right. Historic Hastings or Hastings. Ooh. Forgive me. Singapore welcomes to number 2 anytime. Oh, very nice. That's right. Ontario, California. Thank you. That's what I thought. Very nice. Exo Captics on this. Very nice. Exo Cap Picard. Beautiful figure. Very beautiful figure. So many potential figures. I saw the movie. I loved it. And I want to go see it again in 4D. Me too. I've only seen Spider-Man No Way Home once. I do plan on seeing it again in either. It'll be in IMAX. I just saw the regular old-fashioned screen. I don't even think it was souped up in digital. I just saw it regular, and there's a reason why I did that, because typically the first opening, it's loud, it's rowdy, and I missed a lot of the dialogue, and I was right. I mean, every time somebody would show up, every time there was a meme or a surprise guest, it just got loud and rowdy, and I missed a lot of the dialogue, and I like to listen to a lot of the dialogue because I look for those Easter eggs. So a second running of the film is going to be in my future. My top 3 MCU films: Infinity War, Endgame, and No Way Home. No Way Home is definitely the one that has me really pondering. On top of the storm that we're in right now, incoming pre-orders from Star Wars, Marvel, DC. Now we've been thrown a curveball of Spider-Man: No Way Home. So hopefully, if you folks have been listening to my day one pre-order, avoid it. There's just no way. There is no way with the amount of hot toy figures, amount of 1/6 scale figures outside of Hot Toys. If you're collecting action figures, if you're collecting any type of toy collectible, my experience this season is that it's been brutal. It doesn't matter if you're collecting Black Series, Marvel Legends, Hot Toys, NECA, HasLab campaigns. It's just been devastating. It's been devastating on all fronts. Now we've been throwing this film here, Spider-Man: No Way Home, and the Marvel Legends are going to be insane. The Hot Toys releases, I'm assuming they're going to give it about a week before they're going to give everybody a chance to watch the film before they start announcing which characters that they're going to release. So I'm going to go straight to the icing and the cake. I've made a cocktail here tonight because I need to focus, right? I need to somehow create a path, a safe path from point A to point B that prevents my ship from being destroyed as it's traveling through hyperspace. If it means consuming large amounts of spice so that I can reach that next realm, so that I can guide us, through the safe road of not getting tapped out and not getting devastated, then I will become a space guild navigator and try to do my best to help you folks out there survive this, because it's crazy. I just happened to last hour was able to unbox my Flash, my CW Flash, and it's a beautiful figure. There's just so much good toys out there. There's just so much overwhelming. And I mean, unless you have a large mansion and maybe you can afford every Hot Toys, great. Some of us, it's either space, it's the budget. Some of us aren't used to this. I'm used to collecting probably 2 to 3 Hot Toys every 30 days in a given month period. But it's to the point now where I'm getting shipments of 3 to 5 in a 30-day period, and I'm just throwing them in the back room. I'm like, because it's just overwhelming. It's not fun. I'm not really enjoying it. When the stuff comes in unexpected, I find it, for me personally, it's very, very overwhelming. Riley Ramirez, thank you for joining. Here we go. LA, thank you. Charlotte, North Carolina. Eric Hank, there you go. I'm going to do my best, Kunji. I'm going to try to do my best here. I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. Look right here. Look at this. You see right here? Look at this. That right there. Can you see that? That's pure spice. Pure spice refined from Arrakis. I'm telling you, this is right here. I had to look at this. You think I'm kidding? This is the best spice you can get right there. So I've consumed just a small amount. I don't want to reach that next level, but I feel like I need to take one for the team here, because it's scary. It's extremely scary that a lot of our pre-orders have not shipped yet. I'm talking like Pennywise. I'm talking like Jango Fett. I'm talking the Mark 85 that hasn't shipped yet. It's bonkers. It's bonkers. We're coming to the end of December, and that just tells me that January is going to be devastating. January is probably where the big hit is going to come. Victor, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Have you seen the Sosa Toys Kingpin? I have. I don't care for Kingpin. I don't. He wasn't in the film. I only, for folks who tend to follow me, I tend to follow the MCU's cinematic universe. I've never watched the Daredevil Netflix show. I've never watched any of those little schlocky shows that showed up a few years ago on Netflix. I've never had any drive or passion. I followed the biblical teachings of Kevin Feige. And at the time, those shows did not exist to him. And if they don't exist to Kevin Feige, then they don't exist to me. So I no hate or love. I have no opinion for those characters. Matt Murdock, Daredevil, showed up in Spider-Man No Way Home. And the audience just cheered and roared and clapped. And that one scene, I did miss probably a sentence of dialogue because everybody was overwhelmed. I am familiar with the character. I'm familiar with the actor. I knew who that was. I thought it was a nice surprise. I am a continuity stickler. So when I don't know whose decision that was, either from Sony or from Marvel, to include him. I don't know what that means. I don't have any years vested with this actor or this character from the Netflix series, so I just don't care. I just don't have an opinion on it. Thank you, 210. There you go. Panhandle, that's right. Panhandle is central time, so it will be 210. Thank you for joining. Lucky for me, I don't need a representation movie. I'm good with just having Infinity War and Spider-Man suit. So there's a lot. I mean, how many suits did we see in this? We saw like what, 4 different versions of the Spidey suit? I want to say 4. Somebody wants to correct me, they'll earn 10 points. So it was the Iron Spider suit, then it was the configurated Iron Spider where the pattern changed. And then we had the Doctor Strange Spidey suit, which was enchanted. And then at the end of the movie, he ended up with a new suit, which had that classic highlighted feel to it. So I counted 4 different Spider-Man suits. Somebody wants to correct me on this. It's 4, not counting the battle damage that Hot Toys has thrown into pre-order. I'm just, new, unique, different suits. What's going to happen to? We're not going to lose this. What we see. Doc Ock. Let me look at one of these comments here. I hope Hot Toys does Doc Ock and Green Goblin. I hope. I don't even want to hope. I want to assume. I want to assume that Hot Toys will be making a Dr. Octopus and a Green Goblin, simply because in the deluxe version of the Spidey suit right here. Let me log into Sideshow. We saw that. Which version was it? And it has a specific name to it too. It's the this one right here, the integrated suit, which is a integrated, updated suit of the Iron Spider. So for most of us who are telling ourselves, well, I don't need this one. I already have Iron Spider from Infinity War Endgame. Well, this is a completely different suit. I don't know if you guys are aware of that this integrated suit, because I saw comments on social media where they were saying, the integrated suit, we have that. Well, no, this is a completely different suit. And it's, you can tell by the gold patterns on there. It's very different. So I mean, I as far as the advancements he was able to do, I didn't feel the suit performed any different than the end game. If anything, it's more of a aesthetics that is different. Am I going to purchase this? I'm most likely going to. It's probably going to be 80-90%. It's going to show up sometime in 2023, hopefully. The later it gets pushed out, the better. Simply because of the base. To me, the base is what sells it on this. And I don't agree with the price. I think this is outrageous, but it's Hot Toys taking advantage of the situation, because what else do you have? There's not going to be. I mean, we don't have Chris Evans anymore. We don't have RDJ anymore. We don't have Iron Man. This is it. This is going to be the moneymaker for Hot Toys for a very, very long time. So they're going to take advantage of this. I think the base is awesome. I don't know how I'm going to integrate it into my module case display, but I definitely do like this whole setup. I still need a Spidey cloth one. Yeah. Also, the upgraded suit is in the beginning. You'll want to catch up. No, I have no intentions of ever catching up because I don't care. I have no interest in that. Just to kind of put it into context, I have not seen an episode of Hawkeye, and I don't plan on seeing an episode of Hawkeye. It looks boring and stupid to me. But that's just me. I know there's fans out there that love Hawkeye and all that stuff. I've never had any interest in the character of Hawkeye. I've never had any interest in the actor who plays him, Jeremy Renner. I've just never, he's always been a character filler. Like, well, if you're building a team, you got to have him regardless if you like him or not. That's how I've always seen Hawkeye. And I'm sure the show is good, but it just doesn't look like anything that I'm interested in. I've always been very cinematic oriented. I don't have much. When I purge a TV show, I'm very finicky about bad writing and good writing. I'll devote myself to TV if it's good writing, if it's a good show, and so forth. The Marvel Hawkeye show seems very sloppy put together, but that's just me. I'm sure that there's folks out there that are looking forward, to the next episode, but I just don't care. Is that the classic suit at the end of the same? That's a different suit. From what I can tell, it's a very shiny, different suit at the end, the fourth version of a suit, and it does look a lot brighter. Now, the suit in the end is extremely similar to the Mark IV. Yes, yes, I agree with Miles Morales. That's exactly my impression of what the suit looked like. It's the armored version. Let me see if I can get it over here. Hold on. Yes. Hold on. Yes. Got my Spidey here. It's this one here. This right here. Look like it right here. This one right here. This is exactly what the suit looked like when I saw it at the end of the film. Yeah. So, here, hold on. That's not going to help. Let me remove that. There you go. See? And for those of you who are not aware, this actually has, this is the, I don't know if you can see it, but this is the black light. There you go. You can kind of see the armor. There you go. It's black light sensitive because it's an armor suit. It's more like a body type. I don't know if you can see. I think you can. Yeah. So it's a good suit. I like it. It is definitely a big scare to pose. You can see I had it inside the Infinity module case as very standard museum pose because it doesn't look. I intend to keep this for a very long time, and this type of memory fabric always concerns me. So it's very, very museum pose when it comes to like the Spidey suits, especially with the advancements that they're doing with these suits. I don't trust Hot Toys. I don't trust the longevity. I don't plan on ever selling these Spidey suits anytime soon. So I definitely do want to keep them for a very, very long time. There are cheaper routes for other suits represented shelves without having. There are other cheaper routes for other suits represented on shelves without having it to be a Hot Toys. I don't know what you mean by that comment there, Diecast Fly. Hot Toys Goblin will look great. Let's jump to the villains. So did anybody else wonder where was the sinister six? We didn't get a sixth villain, did we? We didn't get a sixth villain, which I thought was very odd. I thought they were going to cram Mysterio. Somebody else was going to don the suit. I thought we were going to see Michael Keaton's Vulture show up. The way the story took, it was very it had twists and turns that I had no idea was coming. I had no idea. I never crossed my mind that a villain that I've loved for almost 20 years, Dr. Otto Octavius, played by Alfred Molina, was going to be cured. that was a clutch moment for me. I've always loved the villain of Doctor Octopus, and the fact that Tom Holland's character in Spidey One goes, yeah, we can MacGuffin all the solutions with a Tony Stark 3D printer type MacGuffin device that can solve all of our problems. So I don't know how I felt about that. It seems um, it seems we got a lot of Tony Stark. It felt like Robert Downey Jr. was in this film without him actually being in this film. Did anybody else get that impression? It really felt that they took it. I mean, they took a lot of advantage incorporating Stark tech into the film, and it felt like Robert Downey Jr. was in the film without actually having the actor being there. And I guess that was kind of cool, but it it seems it's a solution to solving a lot of the film's problems and crux. And it was very surreal to see Alfred Molina cured, not Alfred Molina, but the Doctor Octopus that I grew up with 20 years ago. 2004, so 18 years ago, and having him cured and being like an anti-hero. On top of that, though, I gasped really hard where the scene where Green Goblin cuts its arm off. Like, I didn't think that was possible. Did anybody else think that? Because I did not think that Doctor Octopus's arms could be amputated so easily. It felt very easy. It felt it felt it, it's that impression where you've grown and you've watched a character, throughout the films, and you have a certain of an expectation of their power, of their abilities. And I'll give you a good example of this, like Iron Man suits, like Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2. Those suits in Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2, my God, they were just unstoppable. The Mark 6, for crying out loud, was introduced in Iron Man 2, and it helped in the Battle of New York against the Shatari. I mean, it was just the Mark 6 is probably right next to the Mark 7. Then he changed to the Mark 7. It was just, I mean, those suits right there are just powerhouse badasses. And yet, when we get to Iron Man 3, his House Party Protocol suits felt very cheap. It felt aluminum. It felt very tin canish, and it subverted the expectations of what I'm used to with the suits. Same thing with Doctor Octopus. From what I'm used to in the Sam Raimi universe, then we get to this version, and he was still powerful, but having his arm amputated by Goblin's glider, I was not expecting that, and I almost would probably debate that in a nerd debate, because I don't think it was possible. It was let me jump into a comments, because I can't be the only ones. I hope Hot Toys announces somebody, Andrew. Oh, look, there you go. There you go, JB Collection. You right there. Boom, right there. That's exactly where I was going. You're going to get 10 points. Yes, I always assumed that the arms were the same metal that was used in Wolverine's claws. And in fact, I mean, there was that one situation where Hugh Jackman was going to cameo in Spider-Man, but they couldn't agree, or something fell out apart. But yes, I always assumed that Doc Ock's arms were vibranium, and the context was established very young when he attaches the arms. These arms are impervious to heat and magnetism, and they're designed, to contain the power of the sun. So these are really strong, high-tech arms that I want to say in the behind the scenes conceptual, they were designed by Stark Technology. That's always, something that had always been that was behind the scenes, that those arms were just They were designed to handle the power of the sun, but yet you have Green Goblin's glider designed by Oscorp, and his arm clapped, attaches himself, and then he decides to do a quick swipe maneuver. Yeah, that I don't know if that would fly in my book. I don't think that would fly in the nerd continuity Bible there. Let me look at. Let's jump into the comments really quick. Here we go. Sixth villain was James J. Jonah Jameson. I don't think so. No. J. Jonah Jameson is the antagonist, but I don't think he was one of the original Sinister Six. I don't think he ever was. Do you think it's worth seeing 3 times back to back like Nate? Oh, if Nate did that, yeah. Nate clearly has more time geeking out than I do. Defoe didn't age much. I'm not going to criticize about the whole aging, because I know there was a lot of special effects trickery that was used in de-aging and age and so forth. From what I understand, Tobey Maguire just had regular makeup and he refused to be de-aged. That was by his choice. So that's why Tobey Maguire looks the way he did. He looked old, which was fine. I mean, to me, he was still the Spider-Man that I grew up with. These actors it was like slipping on an old glove. Tobey Maguire slipped into the old glove. Andrew Garfield, it felt like it was his same Spider-Man. Alfred Molina gave me chills, because it was just like, holy shit, it's like he's just been pulled out of Spider-Man 2. The only one that did not feel like the same performance was Jamie Foxx's Electro. That was a completely different performance. He, chalk it up to, a different variant of Electro, but Jamie Foxx clearly wanted to take the role into a different direction. I don't think he was very happy with his performance in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and he made Electro a little bit more badass, which is cool. I like it, but that is not the same performance that I remember in Electro and Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Connors, the lizard guy, same performance. Sandman, Christian, what's his name? The actor's name. Who's the actor that plays Sandman? Defoe didn't age. Let me see. 3 is the magic number. Well, Strange versus Spidey. Yes, I agree with you on that. Yes, and they never even finished. Yes, Winley. Hot Toys didn't even finish the House Party Protocol suits. Jump in my theater was going wild. Yeah, I commented on that a little bit earlier, Riley, is that one of the reasons I need to see the film again. It's not, I loved it. I enjoyed the film, but I like listening to the dialogue. For some weird reason, I like to study the way the story is written. And I felt like I missed a lot of it, because every time Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield or somebody would show up, the audience would cheer and clap for which felt like a minute, and dialogue is slipping through. Dude, folks, I want to listen to this. I want to understand, for me, I want to understand the writers, and how are you going to explain how these characters are in this world? I enjoyed the film, but I like to study that. I like to understand, all right, how are you going to get these characters in, and so forth. But yeah, probably either Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, I'll see like a midday show where it's audience is light and low. That way I can listen to the dialogue a little bit better. Osborn metal is from a different universe. Maybe that metal is stronger than Stark in the universe. You know what, Victor? That could be plausible. That could be plausible. You know what? I can buy that. 10 points. 10 points. Yes, because in the Loki TV show, it was established with the Infinity Rings, they only work in their own respected universe. So when you take an Infinity Stone into a different multiverse, it's just a regular shiny rock. So I can understand that certain things react differently, which is why I had to watch a video breaking down the reason why Electro was able to materialize back into his human form. There was, I guess, dialogue that was explained, and I didn't hear it, because I didn't understand. Okay, Electro shows up in his blue energy form. He materializes into this multiverse, and something happened. I missed it. I don't know. Maybe the action was too fast. I felt like I missed dialogue, and then boom, he's standing there naked, and he was throwing jokes, and again, when he threw that joke, oh, are we just all going to pretend like I'm sitting here naked? And the audience is just cheering and laughing. And I'm like the big nerd, like, yeah, I want to how are you going to explain this? How are you going to explain how he went from blue to black? And some dialogue was exchanged there, and I didn't hear it. So, that's it. Cheering, clapping, showing off, huge props for McGuire and Garfield. Yeah, it was really cool. I do think that the audience is a bit of I think the audience that cheered for Garfield, I think a lot of us are a bunch of hypocrites because we didn't support Amazing Spider-Man 2. Does anybody else did that cross anybody else's mind that Andrew Garfield is back and everybody's cheering and clapping? And I'm like you cats didn't support him in his film. It was one of the lowest ticketed, seat runs. Nobody saw Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was panned. It was critically panned. It was just, it sucked. But yet we're all going to pretend like that. Like you guys did not buy tickets, but now because he's in this film, we're all going to pretend like they love him. I saw Amazing Spider-Man 2 in theaters. I bought the soundtrack. I bought the hot toy figures with it. I don't have my Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I do regret selling, but I do have my Electro behind me in my multiverse. I enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man 2. I thought it was very campy. It had some structural problems with Harry Osborn. There was a few little bit of continuity errors there with it, but I didn't think it was as bad as what people made it out to be. I think the whole thing with the parents was too much. I think that could have been trimmed out. I think the whole backstory with the parents being spies and shit, that could have been trimmed out, and that additional time could have been applied to more of the character development towards the villains. Two of those villains should not have been there because of two of those villains should not have been there because of the spell. I don't know what you're referring to. That two of the villains, I don't understand that. Jamie Foxx was doing Bats from Baby Driver. Yeah, he was. It was a different version of Electro Jamie Foxx. I agree with you on that. Thank you. There you go. Thomas Hayden Church. So, thank you. So, Thomas Hayden Church, Sandman. So, and if somebody wants to correct me on this, but my understanding is Thomas Hayden Church only recorded dialogue. He was never on the actual set. Did anybody else pick up on that? He phoned in his performance, literally. They have technology now where the studios can send you recording audio equipment and connect it through via a landline, and you can record your dialogue from the comfort of your home. Thomas Hayden Church, and if somebody wants to correct me on this, did not want to film his part in person because of the filming during 2020. This was in April. Majority of the filming was done in April of 2020. I don't want to say the name or the event, but April 2020 was devastating. And Thomas Hayden Church, from my understanding, just phoned in his performance. The visuals you see of him in the film are digital cuts from Spider-Man 3 that were integrated into this film. So that is his voice, but he was never on set. That would explain why anytime you saw him in person, he was only in the sand form, which probably would be cheap for the studio, but expensive because you have to pay for digital effects. But I'm assuming that Sony paid him as a voiceover actor. So that was interesting. That was the whole Hayden Church thing. I didn't understand, and I had to research that. So, yeah, that was I mean, a lot of this film was early 2020 filming, and we had that end of the world thing there. Same actor that played Lizard. Yes, same actor, Doctor. Yeah, they brought him too. They brought in everybody. Green Goblin called Doc Ock a lapdog. Yeah. He was good. Green Goblin was good. I was tricked. That's good writing. If you can convince your audience that you don't expect a twist, that as an audience, that means that I'm invested into the story, that I'm emotionally connected to the story. And I will say, I did not expect the whole Green Goblin twist. That was very devious. I wasn't expecting that. I really thought I thought it was a different version. Osborn could have had chemicals. Oh, excuse me. It's all wrong. I got yes. The action was choppy. Some of the critics were complaining about that. Yes. Yeah, the special effects and the fight scenes, it was all over the place. The whole scene on the Battle of the Statue of Liberty. That's one of the reasons too I need to watch it again, because it was just really fast paced and I felt like I missed a lot. I really did. Osborn could have had chemicals that helped the blades cut that. No, I'm willing to believe that it's a different, not chemicals, but I would say it's a different type of armor on the blade, on the actual on his actual hoverboard, or the Goblin hover pod, whatever it's called. Do you think? I was never expecting this. No, I was never expecting this. I know a lot of YouTubers were doing heavy speculation on the whole. Oh, we're gonna get the X-Men. It was starting to feel like we were gonna be choked with an overabundance of characters. So I never once thought that we were ever going to see a mutant or an X-Men. I never expected that. I was also very skeptical too on the whole Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. I just didn't think they were going to show there. I didn't think they were. I felt for a second there, I felt that the whole Tobey Maguire Andrew Garfield situation was going to be like another WandaVision Mephisto, where Sony's going to say, "Hey, we never said they were going to be there. You guys all assumed." And I was really, really worried about that. Denobi, did Doc Ock kill his Spider-Man? Because I remember the movie because he was shocked to see Tobey Maguire. No. I never assumed that Dr. Octopus killed his Spider-Man. I will say though, Tobey was somewhat shocked to see Dr. Octopus though. Which leads me to believe that they exist in different universes. Sorry. There was the whole big crutch, the whole big MacGuffin was that let's explain everything away with the multiverse. And a lot of things, I mean, if you really dig deep down into it, a lot of things just did not make sense. How certain villains knew of the other villains' death. Why Alfred Molina's Doc Ock was pulled right out of the sequence where he was trying to harness the power of the sun, but yet Tobey Maguire shows up as an older version of himself. Andrew Garfield. I felt remembers Electro dying in his arms, but yet it's another Electro. So what happened there? So so I'll explain it to you because I get a kick out of time travel. So Andrew Garfield shares his heartbreaking story that he could not save Gwen Stacy, right? I couldn't save Gwen Stacy. She fell. I couldn't save her. At that point in his life, Electro was already dead. He was already disintegrated, right? But we didn't get that interaction where when Andrew Garfield was in this universe, he sees Electro and he doesn't clutch himself. He doesn't gasp. He killed Electro. He saw Gwen Stacy die, and then Electro is back again. So we then have to assume that this Electro that's in Tom Holland's universe is not from his universe, because the Andrew Garfield that we have is from our movie, the one we saw. Tobey Maguire, the older version that we saw in this universe, is from our movie, but these villains are not from their universe. Does that make sense? Does that I that's at least that's how I understand it. Because Andrew Garfield, his Spider-Man version, he killed these villains. He killed Electro. So that's clearly not the same Electro from his universe. Dr. Octopus, the same thing too. It's a young version of Dr. Octopus. He recalls himself being, pulled out when he's harnessing the power of the sun. And Toby's old, so he knows that in his universe, Doc Ock is dead, and there's no reaction to that. There's no Toby saying, "Oh my God, you're back from the dead." Like I was expecting that, and we didn't get that. I was expecting Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, like I saw you die and you're back. Same thing for Green Goblin. But Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man quickly was smart enough to understand, like, this is a multiverse that I'm in. I'm in a different universe and so forth. So it's if you dig deep into the story, there are a few plot holes, but the story moves fast enough that you as the audience, you're going to have to suspend your disbelief on certain story arcs. It was clearly fan service. We got Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. We got Andrew Garfield. A quick poll, right? Let's start with those guys for Hot Toys. If Hot Toys decides to make this version of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, are you folks out there going to buy it? Seriously, don't say you are, and then when it goes into pre-order, you flake out. That's a genuine, honest question. Hot Toy prices are climbing, and if Hot Toys decides to release Tobey Maguire, are we as a community, are we going to support it? Not just say, oh yeah, when it gets released, and then when it does get released, we get distracted by something else shiny and new. For me, I think I can speak for myself. I think I would definitely get a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man if Hot Toys decides to release it. And that goes towards Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. And I'm not just saying that. I honestly would get that if the Hot Toys decided to release those based off of this film, Spider-Man No Way Home's Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, I would get it. I would love to own. I don't have a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I would love to own a licensed version of a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in my collection. Same thing for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I had them, and I do regret selling them. I really do. Yeah, answer that. Because Spidey knew he was younger, so was older. Doc Ock was shocked because the Spidey Peter knew he was younger and this one was older. Oh, yeah, that's right too. Alfred Molina would have been smart enough. That it's a different Toby. So yeah, I guess you're right. I guess I can give credit to Doc Ock, where he would have seen Tobey Maguire a lot older, and in Doc Ock's universe, he would have seen Spider-Man right where he was pulled out. So give me 1 second. My throat is itching tonight. Getting over a cold. They cheered for Andrew because he spent a lot of time denying he was even in it. Yeah. Wasn't that something? Wasn't that rich? The whole Andrew Garfield, everybody just harassing the crap out of him if he was in this film. What a mess that was. William Dafoe's Green Goblin is the iconic, sadistic, lunatic villain that we all love. I would buy him. Same thing for that too. If Hot Toys decides to make a William Dafoe Green Goblin in the way he looks in this film, with the hoodie and the satchel and all that, 100%, I'm down for it. In fact, any villain that Hot Toys decides to release, 100%, I'll get it. The spell was bringing in people who knew Pete was Spider-Man, Electro. The spell was bringing in people who knew Peter was Spidey. Electro and Venom are the two villains that didn't know that. Electro knew Peter. Remember? Yeah. Electro ran into Peter Parker in the street in human form, didn't he? Or in Spidey form? So I assumed it was characters who either ran into Spider-Man or Peter Parker. Did Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker, meet Electro? I thought he did. Venom is the continuity error. He's the plot hole. Because Venom has never met Peter Parker. Venom has never met this version or any Peter Parker. So that was clearly a Sony shoehorn. Let's try to sell some merchandise. As much as people dislike Amazing Spider-Man 2, the main reason was the plot and the writing. A lot of fans love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Yeah, I never had a problem with his acting. I never had a problem with the actress who played Gwen Stacy. I never had a problem with any of them. But yeah, it was a bad script. It was a shame. It was just a bad script. Yeah. That's true. Thomas Hayden Church only did his voice for the movie due to, and this is something that the audience and fans need to understand. I mean, it was a scary time. Remember, this is around the same time too, April of 2020, where Jamie Foxx blabbed that he was in the movie and he got in trouble. Remember that? Jamie Foxx blabbered like, "Oh, Electro's back in Spider-Man." Then he got scolded by Sony and he had to take down an Instagram post. But yeah. Jeremy, do you think these inevitable Hot Toys Green Goblin will be compared to? Oh, why would you even do that? That would be an insult. How do you think the inevitable Hot Toys Green Goblin will compare to the Toys era Green Menace? It'll be superior, right? It'll be a licensed, high quality, superior figure. My thoughts and prayers to anybody that bought the Toys era Green Menace. That's just an injustice to Spider-Man. Was Tobey Maguire and Doc Ock from the same universe? Because that would be shocked when he saw the Spider-Man. Didn't say one of those things that he killed the Spider-Man. Was Tobey Maguire and Doc Ock from the same universe? Because he was acting pretty shocked when he saw Spider-Man. Didn't he say one of those things that he killed his Spider-Man? That's interesting. I don't know. I felt like I missed a lot of dialogue, JB Collection. I really did. I felt just all the cheering and hoopla in the film and all the excitement. It felt that I missed a lot. I really did. I mean, that's, I know people missed the whole theater experience. I don't. If it's up to me, I'm all about the digital. I would rather pay for it. I'd rather stream it into my home. I would rather have subtitles on the film. I'm all about that. I'm not a big proponent to the theater. I think movie theaters did themselves in. They painted themselves into a corner with their ridiculous high prices and so forth. So if it's up to me, I'm all about the streaming. I really am. I mean, just from my experience, like I love the film, but my theater was packed. It was crowded and it was loud. I mean, it was exciting. And I know that's the whole idea of going to the movie theaters. Oh, it's like sharing the enjoyment and the excitement and so forth. I'm all for that. But I don't know. I mean, I don't want to spend all night debating on it. I want to sit, be quiet, and watch the movie. Electro is the one from the Amazing Spider-Man universe. In the movie, he explains when he was about to explode, and he says, "Oh, Does he say that? It can't be, though, because I don't think so. I have to debate you on that one, Riley. I don't think it's exact same Electro from the. I really don't. I think it's a completely different Electro. His Electro dies, then Green Goblin shows up, or whatever version of Goblin in that universe, and he goes and he battles him. So it doesn't feel like it is. They're all from. It doesn't make any sense. They're all from the same universe. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be. I guess it's gonna have to be like a fan interpretation. It really is. I don't think they're all from the same universe. I think each of the characters are from a different multiverse. It just doesn't make any. It doesn't make any sense, especially that Dr. Otto Octavius knows that Harry Osborn, not Harry, Norman Osborn is dead, but yet they're both alive. So to explain the continuity errors, that's where the whole multiverse is thrown in. They're just from different universes. These villains are all... that's the way it seemed. That's what I took too. These villains are all from different universes. That's how I took it. They're all from different universes. That's pretty much how I took it. Yeah. It was pulled from different times from the time. No, I don't think it was time travel. Pulling people from a timeline and pulling people from a universe are completely two different matters. It just... so you're talking like quantum leap. No, you're no. It's from different universes. That's the only way you can explain the age gap situation between Alfred Molina and Tobey Maguire, where he does acknowledge his age difference. Toby mentions that they saw them all over the TV and they were smart enough to figure it out. Yeah. Well, Andrew Garfield's character, Spider-Man 3, his version was able to put the pieces together very quickly about the whole multiverse. So I'm glad that dialogue was thrown in there for explanation. Tobey Maguire knew the story of... let me see this right. Toby and Andrew knew the story on how they were pulled out before they died. That's why the whole plot of the movie was to find cures to make sure they don't die when they go back to the universe. Could very well be too. Yeah. 2024. I don't think it'll be that far. I think it'll be a 2023. If we get a Spider-Man release pre-order from Hot Toys, I'm thinking it'll be early 2023. It's not going to be that far. I just don't think so. I wouldn't expect Kun Jiklu, but I don't think it'd be any different. If we're getting an Andrew Garfield and a Tobey Maguire from this film, I would expect nothing less but new materials and a new head sculpt. Absolutely. And they're not going to be cheap too. That's the problem. If they make a Tobey Maguire and a Andrew Garfield Spidey, I mean, it's going to be expensive. This is what you're going to be looking at right there. That right there. If that's what you have to... I mean, you got to ask yourself as a Hot Toys collector, if Hot Toys decides to announce a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, that right there is what you're going to be looking at paying. $300. That's shipping. That's tax. It's going to be $300. Where we have now entered the realm of $300 Spider-Man figures. And I know we all, as collectors and collecting toys and so forth, we all tend to be a little bit short-sighted. And if they make the announcement of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, yeah, we're all going to cheer, we're all going to clap, but I just don't see the collectors stepping up to the plate like they used to. We have an excessive amount of Spider-Man figures that are stockpiling on back order. I mean, when I did my my search here, I mean, we have a ton of Spider-Man Hot Toy figures. It's a lot, folks. It's a lot. $260 for the classic suit, $275 the cyborg suit, the Iron Spider. Oh, right there. You can see the difference right there. The Iron Spider is still on wait list right there. You can see the big difference on his pattern there. I mean, you can see how it's a dark emblem chest right there. And then when you go to the integrated suit, right here, it's a different. It's the chest isn't black; it's now gold. So that's the biggest thing there. Yeah, and there's his arms. So that was one of the things, and I was part of that crowd that got confused because I thought it was the exact same figure, but no, it's a completely different suit. So I did say earlier, I am going to pick this one up. I have to, just because of that base. That base is really the biggest selling point to me. But we have a ton. I mean, we have Carnage. I mean, look at this crap. $510 for a Carnage. I mean, you see now why I'm a little bit skeptical about having a Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield pre-order. I don't think we'll support it, or at least support it strong enough that it makes it worthwhile to Hot Toys. I'm very skeptical at this point. Let me see what here. I like Defoe's Goblin, but can't stand that metal armor suit. I prefer a comic book costume version. No, I like the suit. I like the look. It was very different. Yeah, I thought it worked well. I don't want a prefer comic book version. Yeah, I mean that's different. I mean this is the cinematic universe, so I would never expect a comic book version in the film. It's all about the cinematic experience and how cool it looks. The alien symbiote met Peter in Spider-Man 3. Hmm. I did hear that theory on how Venom knows Peter Parker. So that may be a loophole that's a little bit viable. Yeah, that may work. But going back to Spider-Man here, this search right here, this is just whatever. We have 23, we have pre-release in 23. This is just a lot. This is just a lot of go to page 1 here. We have Gwen. We have the wait list for Venom is still open. We have Mysterio. We have the anti-Ock suit. More Miles Morales. We have the quarter scales. We have the Mysterio drones. We have the stealth suit, the armored version right here. This is the one I have. I mean, he's still on there. You can still pick him up. You know, that's the one I got. That's, you know, that he's still in stock. So that's why I'm just a little bit skeptical about the community wanting more actual Spider-Man suits versus the villain. I think the community would be a little bit more inclined to support the villains. I think if we get a really beautiful, integrated, articulated Dr. Otto Octavius, to me it'll be a home run. I'm really curious to know how they would even accomplish that, because I would want both versions of Otto Octavius as seen in the film. The regular arms from his universe, and then I would want the nanotech integrated arms with the red hues on it, which looks beautiful. And so if it means releasing 2 versions of Dr. Otto Octavius, I mean, I love the character. I would support it. I don't know how many people out there would buy 2 different versions, or if they would even give you the ability of swappable mechanical arms in his back. I'm not sure. That's one of those things that I would be really curious to know how they would even accomplish that. Now let's go back over here. That's something that I would be really curious about. Hive Mind and how we met Tobey Maguire. I mean, that's part of that rumor where all the Venoms are connected in a symbiotic. So that's plausible. I mean, I could buy that if there would maybe some dialogue would have been said or introduced, make it a little bit better. Toby's Venom knew who Peter was. That's why Tom Hardy's Venom was there. Again, that's to the original Spider-Man 3 connection. He was whooping, well, Electro claimed he was whooping Spider-Man. All villains are from the same unit from their Spider-Man. Makes sense. You all got to watch it again. It's hard to explain. No, I disagree with you, Riley. I think they're all different villains and different characters from different universes. That's why Doctor Strange was having a hard-ass time trying to repair the fractures in the multiverse. There you go. What else we have here? It smells like a new car. It smells like a new car. Yeah, Harry Osborn let Doc Ock work on his project. Here we go. I'm reading the comment here. Harry Osborn let Doc Ock work on his projects after Norman died. So that would be that connection there. Yeah. But Norman Osborn would not have seen him with this mechanic. That would have been his first time though, because he would have been dead. To see Otto Octavius with those mechanical arms, That's the best scene in the film. That whole interaction of Doc Ock on the freeway and just kicking Tom Holland's ass was awesome. That was really cool. Yeah, these prices, I agree with you. I imagine these prices are getting ridiculous. And this is why I when I look at these prices, I mean, for these quarter scales and the Spider-Man stealth suit that nobody's buying. Nobody's buying this. Nobody's buying this at all. I mean, they're giving discounts and free shipping, and I'm not saying that we don't love Spider-Man. I think we do. I think for the most part, us comic book geeks and fans, we love Spider-Man. We want to collect 1/6 scale Spider-Man figures, but it's a lot. I've even throttled my pre-orders with Spider-Man. I have to really, really nitpick as to which Spider-Man characters I'm going to add. They did a movie with Defoe, Goblin, and Golem. Would you watch it? Who's Golem? Defoe and Gollum. You mean from Lord of the Rings? Is that what you mean by that? He was linked with some crazy shit appeared in the world. So I never saw Venom 2. I had to watch videos on to be brought up on this beat. I don't have any interest in ever seeing Venom 2. I just don't care. But I did see the video breakdowns on him being pulled in. And then he was pulled into this universe and he was pulled back, which I thought was just, it didn't make any sense. I don't understand that. And he was brought in just so that he can leave a piece of himself. Yeah, that right there is what I would call lazy writing. I felt there could have been a better way to bring in Tom Hardy's Venom into this film, but for a throwaway cutscene, it seemed like he was shoehorned in by Amy Pascal. It seemed like it was a Sony exec decision just to ensure that the film gets credibility and to sell merch. That right there was a good example of lazy writing in the film. If there's one example of lazy writing in this film, it was probably that one cutscene. Everything else was good. Electro and Lizard both talk about how they were from the same universe. Electro states Connor's tried to turn the city into Lizard's scene was when they were all trapped. That could very well be true. From what I understand, though, Lizard never dies, though. Electro does, right? Right? Doesn't Electro... The Lizard never dies. He gets turned back into a human. He gets turned back into a human because Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man saves him. But yet Electro sees him again in this universe with Tom Holland Spider-Man, and he's back as a Lizard. So I would speculate that in Electro's own universe, that's what he remembers from the Lizard. He tried to turn the city. But from Lizard's point of view, in his own universe, he probably hasn't achieved that master plan yet. I know it's tough to wrap around the whole concept of the whole multiverse. It's Graham Top. We're absolutely getting Toby and Andrew. There's no way they're going to make all these suits and skip on these two most iconic characters. I hope so. I'm going to be optimistic, and I want to assume that we're going to get a Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and that the audience supports it, or at least Hot Toys feels that will support it, and that it will not get buried in the shuffle of the 20+ Spider-Man suits that are already sitting on the shelf here. I mean, because it's a lot. I mean, we still have Spider-Punk finally on waitlist. We have the Negative suit. We have the Iron Spidey. We have the 2099, which I want to say this was the Toy Fair exclusive, and I remember a time where Toy Fair exclusives used to sell out. So, Graham Todd, I'm with you. I want to root with you. I really hope that there's Hot Toys feels that the collectors will step up to the plate and support a Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Now, I want a veteran in the audience to help confirm this, but as I recall, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man Amazing 2 did not sell. It sat on Hot Toys for a long time. And the reason I want to say that's pretty accurate, because I bought my Andrew Garfield Spider-Man from Sideshow with a coupon, with like free shipping or coupon. It was discounted. Yeah. That was, when did Amazing Spider-Man 2 come out? Like 2017? It sat on, and I remember going to like San Diego Comic-Con, and I remember like the trade show booths had him bargain bin. So take that. I mean, that's one of the things about being a long-term Hot Toys collector, is that I get it. We have to get an Andrew Garfield. We have to get. But for me, as a veteran Hot Toys collector, I like to look back at history. And the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man 2, I bought discounted, and it did not sell right away. And I want to say it was kind of like another Emperor Palpatine. It sat on Sideshow's site for almost a year. If somebody wants to confirm that with me, it was not a good seller. Now, I get it. It's a different time, but it's a celebration, and things are different, and so forth. And the movie, I'm just saying, history reminds me of a different story, that Andrew Garfield, a Hot Toys figure, was not highly sought. Now he is in the secondary market, but at the time, he was not. Yes, Deluxe Doc Ock has both sets of arms. I second that motion, Funky Cold Santa. I would want a Deluxe Doc Ock arms where they can attach, where you can have the Stark Tech arms, because there's something about that hot rod cherry red hue all over those mechanical arms that just makes it look nice. Prices are going high. I cherry pick my 1/6 foot based on price, articulation, and if the costume doesn't fall apart from posing. Well, that's like half of the set. That's like half of the collection there, Victor. That is there you go. Sandman from MCVD standard has the original arms only, right? Yeah, and then the standard would have the only original arms. Yeah. I was not paying attention to the black and gold suit from Hot Toys. It's so inaccurate. I'm not exactly sure. I'm passing on that. I don't know anybody out there that would be getting the gold and black strange, enchanted suit. I just don't care. It served a purpose of teleporting the villains that he would capture into the cage, and that's honestly really what the suit was designed for. Yeah, for me, it wasn't a must. I want the villains, and before we get back into Spider-Man, I don't care for another a Doctor Strange. I have one. I think for me, Doctor Strange is one of those characters. I don't need multiple versions. I will say though that if you do not have a Doctor Strange in your collection and you are thinking about building your own personal Spider-Man collection, this Doctor Strange would definitely be a showstopper, because it looks beautiful. I mean, the whole diorama, the magical incantation spells, everything about it looks cool. If I did not have a Doctor Strange in my collection, I absolutely would be getting this. But I ended up with the second version of Doctor Strange, which was the Endgame version, which I'm happy. I'm very happy with that. I don't know if it seems like it's the same head sculpt, doesn't it? The head sculpt looks the same. So put this back up here. I want to say the head sculpt looks the same from the in-game version. That's how they can sell Doc Ock. Yes, with the should have been Eddie Brock. Lizard doesn't die, but he does go back to a life of crime. Electro dies. What do you mean he goes back to a life of crime? He's an amputee. He'll be the one-armed bandit? What? I don't. Green and black suits without dealing with Sony Batman. MCU way of creating Black Suit Spider-Man without dealing any the Sony Venom in the MCU. Oh, I failed to turn. A lizard talks about. You guys are still on the whole lizard thing, aren't you? Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. 2014 is that the year where Amazing Spider-Man was released, and then 2017 was Amazing Spider-Man 2. Right? Is that the whole year? Yeah, those Amazing Spider-Man films. God, it's been quite a while in those films. It's been definitely quite a while. I noticed that they have not shown any Eternals Hot Toys, and good for them because I wouldn't give them any attention. I haven't seen the film Eternals. I don't care about the film Eternals. This is the problem. This is the situation I'm in as a collector, where I fell in love with the MCU. I fell in love with Iron Man. I fell in love with Captain America, Black Widow, Thor, Hawkeye, the Avengers films. Avengers 1, Avengers Age of Ultron, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. And I knew I was in trouble as a collector at the end of Endgame. I go, that's it. Like, I was lost. Like, I did not know what to do. Like, what am I going to do? I've always collected my MCU characters. Luckily, I have somewhat of a direction with Star Wars right now, where I'm kind of on the sidelines. It's giving me a little bit of purpose with the whole Mandalorian resurgence and so forth. But I still have a devotion, a dedication to the MCU. And it's hard as a collector now because I'm enjoying the break, but I also miss it too, because it was always like comfort food, always picking up, a new Robert Downey Jr. suit and so forth. And I still have like the Mark 85 to look forward to, but I kind of miss that. And I'm not too heavily invested with the whole Disney Plus shows like the Loki series and WandaVision. Now, I did pre-order Wanda and I did pre-order Vision because I don't have a Vision in my collection and I don't have a good Wanda in my collection. And then for Loki, I will be getting President Loki when he gets released. I haven't pre-ordered him or anything, but I'll definitely be getting Loki. And that's about it. I don't care for Sylvie, and I don't care for the Hawkeye show. There's just no interest in it for me. At least I have hope that Sony will push them in order to milk this movie. Oh yeah, this is going to be a merchandise cash grab all the way. I expect nothing less from Sony. It's been even implied that Spider-Man is the IP that has saved Sony from countless debts and bankruptcies. Mm. The Inside Out suit. Is that what that was supposed to be? The whole black and gold? Was the suit just reversed? Because I never understood that. I never understood what was going on there. At least I know what's going on here. At Riley, yeah, but that was my theater too, and it was easy enough to get. I'm new here, so I'm not trying to sound rude, but he isn't listening to explanations here. It's tough to get. Referring back to the lizard, it's interpretation. NX Revolution. It's different multiverses. You're trying to. This is a situation with these type of films where when you don't have enough dialogue in the film to explain certain things, so then it's left to the fans to imply the answers or to make the assumptions for the to provide the answers into the solutions. If the dialogue wasn't presented in there as to which universes these villains are coming from, then it's really left to the fans to take the interpretation as we understand it. Unless they release a supplemental video from Sony, like a behind the scenes supplement, kind of explaining the whole multiverse prospect and so forth. But that would probably answer it. But we didn't get that in the film. We really didn't get that. And if you dig deep enough into what universes these characters are coming from, there is continuity errors that just, it does not make sense. What do we have here? Honestly, man, did you even, again, Andrew, that was my explanation there. Did you even watch the movie? They made it clear that Lizard and Electro, no, they didn't say that. They implied it from the same as Doc and same universe as Doc Ock. Again, you cannot assume that, Andrew, because Alfred Molina is a different age than Tobey Maguire. Remember, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock was de-aged. He had young makeup on. Tobey Maguire made it clear he was not going to be de-aged, so it was an older version of his Spider-Man. And if it's the older version of Tobey Maguire, in his universe, Dr. Otto Octavius is dead. Now, I've seen the explanations of pulling people out of a timeline, kind of like Quantum Leap. I don't buy that too often. I don't believe, at least I don't feel that's I believe it's just they're different universes and different scenarios have played out in each multiverse, in the same way that with Tom Holland's universe, we assumed that his Uncle Ben had died, but it turns out that it was really May was the one that was filling that role. The role of Uncle Ben. With great power comes great responsibility. That's the thing. We assumed that he had an Uncle Ben, but maybe in Tom Holland's universe, his Uncle Ben never died. Maybe Aunt May was just single or divorced or whatnot. We don't know that. That was never explained. So it's interesting when you kind of dive deep into that. When you dive deep into the whole, we got to see his version of Uncle Ben dying, and Tom Holland never experienced that. He experiences Aunt May dying, and it's just one of those things where in every universe, certain things always have to happen. Some, to propel Peter Parker's character into the role of Spider-Man, he has to experience that tragedy in his life of death and that personal connection, and having someone close to him explain to him that, with great power comes great responsibility. That was unique. That was good writing. There was a lot of good writing in this film. There really, really was. The only parts that I had trouble, chewing and swallowing were the whole, how these villains, what different points in the multiverse and what their experiences are with their own version of Spider-Man, and then how they were pulled back and how they were pulled into his universe. And then the big twist on how some of them were cured, or all of them were cured, right? Green Goblin gets cured. Lizard gets cured. Otto Octavius gets cured. Sandman, he's always been rogue, so he didn't. No, he does. He does get cured, right? Yeah. So that was very different. That was just a huge curveball that Tom Holland's Peter Parker wants to save the villains versus Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and Tobey Maguire are murderers. If you really want to think about it. I mean, if you want to split hairs, it's not like we ever actually saw Tobey make an effort to save Otto Octavius. Well, Doc Ock stops him at the end of Spider-Man 2. He's like, no, I got it. Like, he prevents Peter from saying, like, I'll drown my son. But I don't know. It's not like Tobey ever made an effort to save these. And it seemed like Andrew Garfield was, it seemed like anybody that had to rely on Andrew Garfield to save him would die, right? Gwen Stacy, Electro. Yeah, that's pretty tough. I don't know if I want to buy this Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange 2 is coming. Oh, good point. Good point right there. There you go. Yes. Very good point. I'm Legend. Why would you invest in this Doctor Strange when you know very well at the end of Spider-Man, we got to see the trailer for Doctor Strange in the Mouth of Madness? You're absolutely right. And this figure is not cheap. This is what, $300? This is $350, $340. You add some shipping and tax. Why would you get this one when you know you can get the dark version? Beware of your dark side, Doctor Strange from the Mouth of Madness. Why would you invest in that? You're absolutely right. That's what bugs me, Victor, is the who the next. We never got the Sinister. I think that's probably my only disappointment with the film. I think a lot of people, I think a lot of the fans had expectations, and we never got the true quote unquote Sinister Six, because technically they weren't sinister. It seems that the last IP that we got the best interpretation of the Sinister Six was a Spider-Man PlayStation 4 game, where Peter in that game encounters all of them as the Sinister Six. Great game, great phenomenal game, great game. But that right there, I mean, the fact that we never got a villain, the fact that we never got a sinister, we never got Vulture, we never got Mysterio. I don't know if that was by design, if that was their intention, or if they if it was just written that way. Like, I didn't see any videos, I didn't see any from all the video breakdowns I've seen on YouTube. Nobody seems to really be covering. I thought, am I the only one? I thought we were going to get the Sinister Six. I really did, or at least a showdown. And we didn't get that. It just we didn't get. And I just thought that was weird. I'm like, am I the only one that felt a little bit empty on it? MCU is not as hot as no, Ugly Tomb Kid. No, it's not. Endgame really was the end game for the MCU, and I know that they're trying to spark life into like the Loki series and the WandaVision and all that and the Hawkeye, but no, it's starting to feel like an empty shell, and an empty shell of its former self. And I remember telling this to my friends, watching Endgame and those films. Like, I knew I was living through history. I go, it could be. I may never experience anything like that ever again in my lifetime. The whole, where every year you would get 2 to 3 Marvel cinematic big blockbuster films. Do you know how spoiled we were? Do you know how spoiled we were? I mean, to be peppered with big, huge blockbuster films like that. We may never get that. We may never get that. UK Sith, I'm late. Hello. Thanks for joining. Who's joining? Hello, Edwin. Thanks for joining. Thank you. Battle Damage Mark 85 is my end game for Hot Toys, and it's the longest wait to retire ever. Yeah, you got that right. Yeah. You guys think December is a bad storm month for pre-order drops and announcements? Man, I'm telling you right now, January is going to be brutal. It is going to be brutal. Yeah, it's gonna be completely the Mark 85, the Pennywise, the Jango Fett. We have so many. Here, let me pull up my Storm Tracker here. Let's jump into the Storm Tracker just for Star Wars alone. Pre-orders not released. All right. Storm Tracker 3000. All right. So for those of you who are not aware of my Storm Tracker 3000. So as of, I should probably update this 37 release. Should probably release this. Today's date. December the 19th. All right. I don't think I have to delete anything on this list. So how the Storm Tracker works. Anything on this list only tracks incoming pre-orders that have not shipped from Sideshow. So The Mandalorian and the Child Deluxe has been released in Hong Kong, but has not shipped from Sideshow to U.S. customers. So it has not been deleted off my list. And that's why it still exists. Stormtrooper Commander, I believe, has been released, but it has not shipped from the U.S. We still have Darth Maul, Ahsoka Tano. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even think the Tusken Raider has shipped from the U.S. So on top of the Spider-Man pre-orders, we've been talking about Spider-Man. We still, for those of us that are still passionate with Star Wars, we still got to keep an eye on this. We still got to keep an eye on the whole Star Wars, on top of the Marvel and DC. I have a couple DC pre-orders as well too. So it's we have Transport Trooper, Anakin Skywalker Clone Wars. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of this is scary. This is scary. The fact that we still have all of these pre-orders that have not shipped from the US. And I have a 2019 Pennywise pre-order. I'm going into the year 2022 and it has not been released. If there's this is one of the reasons I don't see day one pre-order in this stuff anymore. The fact that I have a 2019 pre-order on my list, Pennywise, and it has not shipped yet. It has not been released yet from Hot Toys. It just makes you wonder what is going on. Why? What's the whole big deal about it? I don't get it. I don't understand this. Is anybody out there wondering? I want to go back to Spider-Man really quick because I'm not going to focus too much on Star Wars. If they released Daredevil, Matt Murdock, did we talk about if we would even support it? Because we're all in love with the new film right now. We're all looking forward to it. Would we support this? Well, I guess because I want to say the Daredevil's been released through Hot Toys. Would we support that, or is that a ship that's sailed already? That's an interesting one right there because it was a cameo, but it had speaking lines. So same thing too for Hayden Christian, for Sandman. We've never had a true Hot Toys release from Sandman. It's always been that one base diorama that was released with the black suited Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and that was it. Would we support a Sandman version, or do you think they would take the cheap, lazy route of another diorama of Sandman? Because I don't know how they would do Sandman, but I think we deserve a Hot Toys version of Sandman. I think we're at that point now. We definitely deserve it. There you go. Hello. What's going on, our Logan? Very nice. You've been busy. There you go. Got to tune in for bed. Hello, James. Thank you for joining. A little bit of speculation. A little bit of we've been talking about spoilers for Spider-Man, James. No Way Home. And it's for me, it's a no-brainer. I love Spider-Man, and it's all about supporting the villains. Any villain that Hot Toys makes, I'm not going to think twice. I'm definitely going to add it into my collection. Yeah. I will not die, drown in his voice. What's going on here? Ox said I will not die a monster and die, drown in his device. Yeah. It makes you wonder. I'm going to have to go back and wonder, because he tells his story of when he was pulled, and my interpretation is that he was in the middle of his experiment when he was trying to harness the power of the sun. But yeah, I'll have to go back. I'll have to go back and listen to some of the dialogue and check that out, on that, because I love, to me, I lived the whole Toy Biz era of action figures in the early 2000s, and I bought all of that. I can't tell you, I went bonkers with the whole Toy Biz, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, all of those action figures. I had them all. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah. It was just the fact to see him on the screen, to me, that was the biggest joy. It was just, I just had some shocks of the way the arms worked, because I remember for most of you who don't know, those arms were majority of the scenes in Spider-Man 2 were practical. They had puppetry arms and so forth, and then for the action sequences, they were CG. But it was such a treat. I mean, if anything, I just the fact that Alfred Molina was able to go back and reprise his role and just fits like a glove. It was just a nice treat. Came through the portal at the end. Kraven almost came through the portal in the end. There was a dude with the Kraven spear coming through the multiverse and was ready. Yes, I did see subtle images of characters, and it looked like they were peppering in some Easter eggs, I imagine. So I did see that. I'm waiting for somebody. I'm assuming when the film gets released on digital, and most of the YouTubers out there that do like these film breakdowns or can go like by frame, because I want to say with these films, they pepper in so many Easter eggs. So many references to other films, to comic books. I eat all of that up. I never thought Kraven, I know who you were referring to. I never thought Kraven was going to show up in this film. No, I didn't think we were ever going to get Kraven. I think it was very intentional. That's James. That's my conclusion too, because I honestly thought we were going to get the Sinister Six, and I think it was very intentional that they only did 5. There's multiple reasons why they've done this, in my opinion. I mean, you can, maybe they're not ready. It was very weird, and if you're going to cure all the villains, it wouldn't make sense to have the Sinister Six, because the Sinister Six was spearheaded by Doc Ock, rounding up all the villains to gang up on Spider-Man. Like, we're all getting tired of being bullied by Bully Maguire Spider-Man, and, we've all been defeated when we go up against Spider-Man. That's the storyline from the game. If we all work together, we can take down Spider-Man and teach him a lesson, and we can show him what we got. So if the whole story arc of this film was all about curing the villains, then yes, it would not have made sense to introduce the Sinister Six. And it felt like a goodbye. Did anybody else feel like the way the film ended, like Tom Holland washes his hands, like, I'm done? Like, it felt like a goodbye. It felt in the same sense as Robert Downey Jr. saying, "I am Iron Man" at the end of Endgame. Like, it felt like an emotional goodbye. I'm like, oh, this is it. Because when Robert Downey Jr. was there with the snap on the glove, I knew I was not going to see him for a very long time. Like, oh, he's done for a while. He's done. Make no mistake. Oh, we'll see him. Like, no, that boy's done. He's going to go retire in his farm and farm llamas or whatever in his zoo home or whatever, and he's done. That same feeling I got from Robert Downey Jr. at the end of Endgame is how I felt with Tom Holland, and the whole, how he kind of walked away from Zendaya's character and all that stuff from Mary Jane. It felt like just a big goodbye. I'm like, oh, and I get it. He's not signed on for another film, but I mean, that can change. But I don't know if Tom Holland wants to do Spider-Man anymore. So what does that leave the fans? Another recasting, right? It'll be a very expensive recasting, because I got to say, it of all the actors that have played Spider-Man, Tom Holland is, in my opinion, for me, by far the best. And I grew up with Tom Holland. I mean, I grew up with Tobey Maguire. I saw all of the Sam Raimi films in theaters. I went crazy with the toys and the action figures. I loved those films. I even loved Spider-Man 3, the one that came out in 2007. I even liked the hokey Venom. Topher Grace as Venom, my spider sense is tingling, if you know what I mean. I ate it up. I loved it. I really did. I just thought it was awesome. The Sinister Six will most likely be in the second or third of the new Spider-Man trilogy. So a new Spider-Man then, right? Are we assuming? Because I'm assuming we're getting. I'm I'm thinking Tom Holland will be too expensive now, right? He's not signed on. Sony's cheap as shit. Sony is they don't like to spend. So another new actor in the role, and we get the Sinister Six, right? Most likely, I mean, they tried to cram the Sinister Six in Amazing Spider-Man 2. That didn't work. That did not work at all. So it seems like a merchandising opportunity miss. But I understand that it would be a different story if that's the route that they wanted to take. So yeah, I mean that's at the ultimate end, Andrew. That's my interpretation. The Sinister Six future films. So not to confuse anyone, that's honestly it. I just thought that at this point we already have Michael Keaton as Vulture. He's already doing cameos in Morbius, and we have Mysterio, which was referenced. Mysterio, I felt like Mysterio was in the film just as much as Tony Stark was in the film with all the references. So I thought Mysterio was going to be the sixth villain, you know. So at this point, it's a fan service, right? It's a fan wish list, is what you have there, Riley. We will get to Sinister Six in future films: Craven, Morbius, Venom, Scorpion, Vulture, and others. And that does not look attractive at all to me. That looks like a shit show there. Yeah. That mixture, the Sinister Six is like baking a cake, right? You got to have the right ingredients to make that perfect cake. And you add in too much salt or not enough eggs, you end up with that. So not to pick on you, Riley, but yeah, that just no, that would not do it. You want to earn my toy dollars, you're going to have to give me something similar or close to the traditional Sinister Six. And the film had it. The film had it, and it was missing one ingredient. And the Vulture has always been one of the Sinister Six villains. I don't know if Mysterio has, but I know for a fact Vulture has. I know the Sinister Six has been changed throughout the years, but they had majority of the core members in this film. And it just seems like it was a missed opportunity just to make Tom Holland look like a savior by saving the villains. You had Doc Ock, you had Green Goblin, you had Sandman, Electro. Electro is one of the core members of the Sinister Six. Vulture. I mean, would you have wanted to see Tom Holland Spider-Man become Mother Teresa, or would you have wanted to see an epic battle across New York where all three spiders, what I envisioned was that the Sinister Six were going to show up. They were all going to gang up against Tom Holland's Spidey. And then right as he's nearing death, the other two Spider-Mans come out of nowhere and start kicking ass. And then we end up with this phenomenal endgame battle sequence. That's what I thought. That's what was going through my head. In my head, I was expecting an epic level endgame battle sequence in this film. Now, I'm not complaining. I enjoy the amount of dialogue that we got from Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. It was really, really good character development. I was really impressed by that. But I really honestly was expecting just a throwaway cameo. For me, the No Way Home experience wasn't as good as the Endgame because of all the leaks for the No Way Home. I was not exposed to the leaks. If you mean the leaks about Tobey Maguire, I never assumed that they were going to be in the film. I didn't know Daredevil was going to be in the film. That to me was a big surprise. The story arc was a big, huge surprise. To me, a spoiler would have been Doc Ock being, hey, the spoiler is that Doc Ock gets cured. That to me would have been a devastating spoiler. A huge spoiler for me in the film would have been Spidey cures all the villains. That to me, if I would have found that out before the film, that definitely would have ruined my experience. Yeah. Yes, I'm going to be watching it one more time. Yeah, I'll be watching it one more time. Yes, in IMAX. I want to see it in the IMAX screen. Yeah. Was Batgirl pushed back? There's only Hunter's Family for this year. Batgirl was released, but I don't know if she shipped from. You're talking about the Batgirl from the video game series. I don't know if she'll be shipped, if she's shipped from Sideshow yet. I'm not sure. We'll be here Friday. Okay, so thank you, Carbonite Kid, for giving me the update. So when your Stormtrooper commander arrives on Friday, then I'll remove him. I have not removed him because I was told that the Stormtrooper commander has not shipped from Sideshow. That's why he's still on there. According to my list, we still have 37 figures that have not been released in the U.S. market. The Mandalorian Deluxe and the Child have not been released. The Tusken Raider has not shipped from Sideshow, right, Carbonite Kid? I don't believe it has. So there's still quite a few of. I honestly thought this guy. Well, the month's not over yet. I can't believe the Boba Fett Deluxe version hasn't been announced yet. I'm really surprised. I can't believe that they're not going to try to charge credit cards to American pre-orders before the show, because the Book of Boba comes out on the 29th or something, and I'm really shocked that they haven't charged fans on that one. I'm really I'm really shocked on that. Yeah. Of course I'm gonna go into Clone Wars. What is this? Yeah, Hot Toys advertised those Christmas for Clone Wars Mall. Where is he? Yeah, you're right. Where is he? Absolutely. I would get a Daredevil. I don't think I would. That was a question I mentioned. I don't know if I'd want to care enough for Daredevil. I never invested into the show, so for me, it wouldn't do any good. It probably would. Eric Williams, a Daredevil would do a re-release. I probably would agree with you on that, most likely. I don't know. Hot Toys, if Hot Toys does a Sandman, how would they do Sand effects? It would be just like a diorama. It'd be more like a power pose. That's the only way I would imagine they can even do a Sandman at this point. No Way Home creates a ton of plot holes for the older Raimi Spider-Mans, in my opinion. Oh, I agree with you, James. That's what I was talking about earlier. There's several continuity errors with the villains. Yes. So I agree with you on that. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What do we got? I deleted my subscription to Screen Crush. I'm Legend. I deleted any YouTube channel that promoted heavily on the Mephisto scandal, the whole WandaVision. And Screen Crush was by far the number one. I mean, this is the one channel on YouTube that was releasing the worst, heavily speculated, rumored events with WandaVision. I mean, they just made it seem that Mephisto was in every friggin' episode. So I deleted my subscription from Screen Crush. New Rockstar Eggs Easter egg breakdown, I'll give them a look, but Screen Crush was the worst. I will never watch them again. Yeah. From what I understand, Victor, is that he's not signed on. This was his last contractual agreement to Sony and MCU, so he's a free actor agent. He's not signed on for anything. That being said, it's not saying that Sony wouldn't be able to offer him a new contract deal, but Sony has a reputation of being cheap. So take that as you will. From what I understand, he is not signed on for anything else. And he's implied in some interviews that he doesn't want to be Spider-Man at the age of 30. Like he felt like it would be a cringe moment for him if he was still playing Spider-Man at the age of 30, where he wants to get married and have a family. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, nothing wrong with that. I mean, but I don't expect or assume anything until it's legit, until he's signed on and so forth. He may be done for a while. I know every few months a rumor shows up that Robert Downey Jr. is in talks, or I remember that one rumor last year with Chris Evans was rumored, blah blah blah, and that's all it is. It's clickbait rumors. That's all it is. So until I see an official screenshot off the set of these actors, I don't believe any of that anymore. It's all clickbait nonsense. It's honestly what it is. So, I hope so. Pop Rain, Tom coming for 3 months. Again, Sony is just cheap. I mean, during that Sony email hack, Amy Pascal is cheap. She's the Sony producer. They are, I mean, they're below cheap. They're all about recasting and saving a penny. They're in it to milk. I mean, Spider-Man is the IP that saved Sony. I don't. I want to be optimistic and believe that Tom Holland would come back to reprise his role, but I wouldn't be surprised if we go through years until we ever see him again. Yeah. Not my what's Graham, I have not seen that. Let me do a little bit of independent research. Producers can say they would love to have. I know Amy says they would love to continue working. There's a difference of we'd like to continue working with the actor and an actual contract. So maybe they're in negotiations. Maybe I don't know. But at this point in time, he's not signed on. Maybe they're saving face. I don't know. I mean, it's all speculation at this point. I just know at this point he's not under contract to reprise his role. That's it. So take it as you will. Maybe we'll get more of the schlocky Venom films and Morbius and Craven to fill in the gap. That's my assumption. In the same way that we have heavy fat fillers for the MCU, like WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye, that's what Sony's doing. Hold on. Got an itchy throat. What Marvel is doing is what I feel Sony's doing with these fat filler shows, Morbius and Venom and so forth. So it seems to be working. You kids out there seem to be going gaga for Venom and all this stuff. For me, Venom isn't doing it for me. It's just not my thing. Morbius, I'll give it a shot. Craven, where's that going? I don't know. They casted an actor for that, so who knows? Who knows? Spider Wars. That would be cool. That would be cool. That would be cool. What do we got here? Oh, look at this. What do we have here? We have a super chat. This just came in. Holland does have one more under current contract and has signed on from more according to Pascal and Feige. Holland says that it was taken out of context in those interviews. Maybe it is. Let me see. Tom Holland contract here. Contract for Spider-Man. Let's see if the trades. Let's see if they're already. There's a couple. Let's see. Which of I'm looking at the articles here, but Screen Rant, I don't know if they're. Here, let's read the article together. Why not? Let's read this together. I think I may have found an article, but it's written as a speculative article, though. That's my concern. So let's pull up this article here. All right, let's read the article here. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige confirms the MCU's Spider-Man 4 is in active development with Sony and Disney. After years of starring in his own superhero movies, Spider-Man was rebooted to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Spider-Man No Way Home is the conclusion to Tom Holland's solo trilogy, which came alongside 3 other MCU movie appearances. It has been through these 6 films that Holland's Spider-Man has become one of the biggest superheroes in pop culture. This made Spider-Man No Way Home the most anticipated Marvel movie of 2021, especially after rumors surfaced that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield could appear. Even before Spider-Man No Way Home hit theaters and gave audience a chance to see what happens next for Holland's Spider-Man, questions began to swirl about his MCU future. Sony plans to build their own universe filled with Spider-Man villains like Venom and Morbius, raised concerns that he could leave the MCU to join them. This was especially true after Sony and Marvel broke off talks to continue working together prior to them reaching a deal to make Spider-Man No Way Home. It has only been recently that discussions about Spider-Man 4 being in development surfaced online, which could be the start of a brand new trilogy. Now that Spider-Man No Way Home is out in theaters around the world and crushing box office expectations, talks of Spider-Man MCU future starting to heat up. This led the New York Times to ask Feige and No Way Home producer Amy Pascal about what is coming next. And after Pascal discussed her hopes to make Spider-Man 4, Feige came out, directly confirmed the movie is in early development. The surprising movie comes as a result of the Marvel executive wanting to let audiences know that Spider-Man MCU's franchise will continue with multiple studios working together. Amy and I and Disney and Sony are talking about, yes, we're actively beginning to develop where the story heads next, which I only say outright because I don't want fans to go through any separation trauma like what happened after Far From Home, the previous Spider-Man movie in 2019. That will not be occurring this time. Reports of Spider-Man 4 originally surfaced at the end of November when Pascal said in an interview that they're planning another trilogy led by Holland's Spider-Man. This was met with a huge sign of relief initially as people around the world shared their excitement about the MCU continuing Peter's story. However, Pascal later walked back those comments and said it was merely her hope that their partnership continues. Thanks to Feige's statement here, it is officially known that Spider-Man 4 is coming. Details. Okay, so this is, if somebody wants to share me a different story, this is exactly the same what I've just been saying. We're gonna get a Spider-Man film, but Tom Holland is not confirmed. He's not under contract. This can change. This most likely can change. But as of today, December the 19th, he's not under contract to star. It'd be cool. It'd be stupid not to sign him on, right? Amy Pascal opening up her big mouth, making assumptions, and these deals could take years in the making. So if you're trying to get Tom Holland back for another 3-film deal, that's going to be months, maybe even years of negotiating. Likeness rights, points off the back end of the tickets, beginner salary, everything, all of that. So I'm optimistic. I would like to see Tom Holland return. I would like to see Tom Holland return into the role. I think it'd be very, very cool. So, yeah, and I'll leave like that. And it'll be a very interesting. Point in time to follow that. Yeah. So anyway, this was fun. Hit my 2-hour mark, and I'm gonna call it quits here. This was fun, and I may do a review next week. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, thanks for joining. And this was fun.